The Ugly Duckling by Hans Andersen. It was a beautiful summer day. A duck sat on the eggs in her nest. My ducklings will come out soon, she thought. An egg cracked. Cheep, cheep. The first baby duckling came out. Cheep, cheep. The other baby ducklings came out, one after another, 4 beautiful little yellow ducklings. The mother duck looked at her nest. Oh, the biggest egg hasn't cracked yet. And she sat on it again. At last, the big egg cracked, and out came not a beautiful little yellow duckling. It was big and, oh dear, the duck said, it's ugly. Perhaps he isn't a duckling, the duck thought. Ducklings can swim. I'll try that. She took her new family to the water. Jump in, she said. The first duckling jumped in. Then the second, the third, and the fourth. Come on, the duck said to the big one. Jump in. The big one jumped into the water. It went under the water, but it came up again. And it swam. He swims well, the duck thought. He's a duckling, but oh dear, he's very ugly. What's this? Said the other birds on the farm. It isn't one of us. It's ugly. Go away, the farm people said. So the poor ugly duckling flew away from the farm and walked all night through the dark forest. In the morning he came to a big marsh. Wild ducks lived in the marsh, and 2 of them looked at him. What are you? They asked. You're an ugly thing. Suddenly they heard guns. They were frightened and they flew up. Bang! Bang! They fell from the air. Men with guns and dogs were in the marsh. The frightened duckling put his head under his wing. I mustn't move, he thought. A big dog came near him. He saw its cruel teeth. It came nearer, nearer. Then it stopped and went away. And the poor duckling thought, it didn't want to bite me because I'm ugly. But he didn't move for a long time. The ugly duckling left the marsh and ran into the forest. That night the weather was very bad. The duckling looked for a safe place in the forest, and at last he saw a very old, very small house. There was a fire inside the house. An old woman sat near the fire with her cat and her hen. The ugly duckling found a way in. "What's this?" said the old woman. "You're ugly, aren't you? Never mind, come in and sit near the fire." But the cat and the hen didn't like the duckling.
"You can't catch mice, can you?"
said the cat. "Can you lay eggs?" said the hen.
"Go away,"
said the cat. They drove him out into the forest and the cruel weather. The ugly duckling was alone. Autumn came. Soon the leaves were yellow and then brown. One evening, some white birds flew south at sunset. The ugly duckling didn't know they were swans. He knew only one thing. They're the loveliest birds in the world. Winter came, and snow and ice. After a time, there was no water, only ice. "What's happening?" the duckling thought. "I can't move." Early next morning, a farmer saved the duckling from the ice. In the farmer's house, the duckling was soon warm. He opened his eyes and he saw the farmer's children. "Let's play with him," the children said. The duckling was frightened. He flew into the milk, into the butter, and into the flour. The farmer's wife was angry, and she drove him out into the cold world outside. It was a very unhappy winter for the poor ugly duckling. At last the spring came. The sun began to shine again, and there were young green leaves on all the trees. The ugly duckling flew up into the sky. Down below him he saw 3 white swans on the lake. "What lovely birds," he thought. "I must go to them. Perhaps they'll kill me because I'm ugly, but I want to be with those beautiful white birds." He landed on the lake beside the 3 swans. There was no wind and the water was flat. There were 3 swans near him and 4 swans in the reflections in the water. His reflection told him he wasn't an ugly grey duckling. He was a swan. Some children came into the garden. "Look," they cried, "another swan, and he's the loveliest of them all."